All right, this is lesson 4.6, writing equations in slope-intercept form. Now, I know we've already talked about slope-intercept form and how to use those to graph, but basically what we're doing today is we're trying to see, do you understand this literally forwards and backwards? So your goal today is to understand how to write the slope-intercept form of a linear equation based on given information. So in other words, we're not coming up with a graph, we're coming up with the actual equation. All right, so let's take a look at our first scenario. Basically, this is what we're talking about. I want to be able to do the reverse process of what we've been learning about. That here, I've got the graph of our linear equation, and I want to go back to the original equation. So think about the process that we came up with for writing this graph, which is basically to find a starting point and then use slope to figure out a direction. So take a look here. We're looking for two things, just like before. We're looking for slope, and we're looking for the y-intercept. All right, so take a look at the graph and see if you can spot for yourself where our y-intercept is. Where is our starting point? Now hopefully, if you understood our lessons well enough, that you noticed it's right here. It's where our line crosses the y-axis, and that's why we call it the y-intercept. So this has a y-intercept of 2. And then the slope is just a matter of coming up with some good points. I've got one good point here. Now what we mean by a good point is, where does our line cross the grid of the graph paper? Like here's a good spot. Notice how the grid and our line kind of match up. Same thing right here. So I might use these points. So now all I have to do is visually count rise and run. So if I start here and finish here, it looks like my rise is down 1, 2, 3, -4. So we've got a rise of -4, and then a run across to the right of 1, 2, 3, +3. So that would mean my rise is -4, my run is +3, so we have a slope of -4/3. All right, so then what we do is we finish reversing the process. The slope-intercept form of equation we've learned is y equals mx plus b, where m is just another way to say slope, and b is just another way to say y-intercept. And so we just plug these numbers into the respective spots. So our answer here would be y equals -4/3 x plus, and then our y-intercept of 2. So this would be the equation that goes with this graph. And as you can see, it's literally the reverse process of what we've done before. We go from the graph, we find our y-intercept and our slope. We then take those numbers and plug them back into the equation, and that gives us the slope-intercept form of the linear equation that goes with this visual. All right, so that's one thing we're going to try on today.